Hey guys, it's Carly bringing you episode number 3 of my entire horror Blu-ray slash DVD slash VHS collection. Sorry, the heater just decided to kick in on conveniently, so I hope that doesn't pick up too much in the video. But anyway, yeah, had a day off, decided it's time to do another one of these videos, so I'm just gonna hop right into it. First up, we're on the E's still here, and I have the Evil Dead original movie. I've only seen this once, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was creepy, honestly, and also a fun movie. It's definitely scary. I know they kind of venture into horror comedy as the series goes on, but I really like this first one because it does have a scary vibe to it, and I just like the effects and the camera angles and things like that. I think they're pretty brilliant. So yeah, love the Evil Dead. Then we have Evil Dead Part 2. Once again, I've only seen this one once as well, and I honestly didn't care for it all that much. I've heard people say that this one's better than Part 1, but like I just said, this one is more comedic in a sense, and I just wasn't really feeling it. I thought it was just a little too silly at times, and I just couldn't get into it. It's definitely one I would have to rewatch, though. After that, we have Evil Dead, the, I guess, remake from 2013. I don't know, this is one of those weird ones that some people say it's a remake, some people say it's a reboot, some people say it's a sequel, I think. So, I don't really know. To me, it's like a remake, but I really enjoyed this one. It's got very good gore effects and things like that. And, yeah, pretty good, pretty solid remake, honestly. Then we have The Exorcist. Yeah, I picked this one up not too long ago, and this is one that I watched a few times growing up, and it's also one that I think would be on TV a lot, and I would never watch all the way through because it's a rather longer film, and this is really a good movie. I think it's pretty solid. It still holds up. It's still very scary, maybe a little bit overrated, arguably, but I think it's a very solid movie. Not one I rewatch a whole lot because, you know, it's not my favorite ever, and it's over 2 hours, so, but yeah, definitely a classic. After that, we have Feast 1, 2, and 3, a trilogy pack here. Saw Feast 1, really enjoyed it. Very fun, solid film. And then the sequels I thought were pretty awful. I could not get into them at all. I barely paid attention while I watched them. They're just lower budget, lower quality. They don't really feel the same as the first one at all, and I just didn't really like them. I think, honestly, I like Part 3 a little better than Part 2, but like I said, I barely even could pay attention to them, honestly. After that, we have a stolen copy of Final Destination Part 3 on DVD here, Video Warehouse. I think the story behind this was, it was a movie place that was going out of business. It was one of those weird ones where it was connected to a Giant Eagle or something like that, and a friend of my mom's worked at that Giant Eagle, and people would drop off the movies still, but the place was already out of business, I think, so he would just go and sneak in and take whatever was out of there, and this just happened to be one of them. I don't remember Final Destination 3 at all. This is a franchise I'm not too familiar with. I know I watched this, but I can't tell you which one is which in the series, besides the first two. Those are the ones that I really know, but yeah, this is definitely one I would have to rewatch. Kind of a shitty copy, but I've always kept it, obviously. Then we have The Fly. This is honestly brilliant to me. This is one of the only movies that ever actually made me gag. I can honestly usually take gross effects because I know they're fake and things like that, but I thought they were very realistic in this movie, and yeah, it kind of really grossed me out. The performances in this are fantastic, and yeah, can't say enough about it. Effects are great. The storyline is great. You know, kind of a loose remake of The Fly from the 50s, which I like that movie too, honestly, but this one definitely amps it up, and I love it. After that, we have The Fly Part 2. Yeah, I decided to pick this up because I was just really curious about how they made a Part 2 to a movie like this, and honestly, this is not too bad. You know, it's got a very similar feel like the first one does, which was surprising to me. I thought it was going to be really different, but another thing is it's very cheesy as well, and it kind of focuses more on the fly aspect of the character than the actual character, where the other one's like a slow build up. So, you know, definitely not as good as the first movie at all, but I still enjoyed it. It's fun. Then we have The Fog with the blue cover here. Yeah, The Fog is one that grows on me with more viewings, but it's not my favorite like John Carpenter film or 80s film or anything like that, but at the same time it grows on me. It's got good atmosphere to it, and it's one that I find to be rewatchable, even though it's not really my favorite. But yeah, definitely one that I have to watch over and over again to let it kind of sink in. Then after that, we just have The Fog with a green cover because JP accidentally bought me The Fog with a green cover because he was looking at my collection and he thought I didn't own The Fog, but it was because the other one had the blue cover, so he got a little confused, but that's okay because, I mean, it's kind of cool to have both of them. I think the difference here is it's got different special features because we looked it up because, you know, it's just weird. The covers are exactly the same, just different colors, but I believe there's different special features in it. I have not watched them though. After that, we have Frailty. JP was talking this one up quite a bit, so I finally picked it up at like a Cash and Culture or something like that, and it is a very, very good film. It's got the late Bill Paxton in it, of course, and Matthew McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey, he's kind of hit or miss for me, but I think his performance in this is pretty great, as well as Bill Paxton's. Just an awesome, awesome film. Highly recommend it. I think it's like a 2001 movie, and yeah, it's got a great story. After that, we're getting into the Friday the 13th tier with Friday the 13th Part 2. This is my favorite in the franchise, actually. I think it's a very solid sequel. I love Part 1, but I think this one's a little bit better. Yeah, I just love the Sackhead Jason, and I just think all the characters in this movie are great. And yeah, can't say enough good things about this one. Definitely one I rewatched probably the most. After that, we have Part 3. I feel like this one gets some mixed opinions on it, and I really like it. I watched it again recently, like a couple months ago, and I had a good time with it. The characters definitely aren't as solid in it, and it's got that like goofy soundtrack to it, but you know, I still like it. Of course, this is the lenticular cover here, but yeah, I think Part 3 is pretty good. I don't care what people say. After that, we have Friday the 13th, the final chapter, and the weird thing about this one is that a lot of people rave about this one and say it's their favorite as well as Part 2, but for some reason I find this one to be really forgettable. Like, literally, I don't mean that in like a rude way. I mean, like, I actually forget what the plot is behind this one. You know, I know it's the one with Tommy Jarvis, hopefully that's, yeah, it definitely is. I don't want to sound like a total idiot there, but yeah, I know like that, but I always forget like the story and everything that happens in this movie, and that's not saying it's a bad movie. It's just one that for some reason, no matter how much I rewatch it, it just completely wipes away from my mind. It's very weird. After that, we have Part 5, A New Beginning. I really enjoyed this one. This is actually one that I saw later in life, and I always thought that I'd seen it, but then I would hear people talk about it, and I'd be like, oh crap, I actually don't even remember that movie. So, you know, watched it a little bit later than the other ones, but I actually think it's a very fun movie. It's got funny moments, and it's still scary, and, you know, I don't really care that Jason's technically not in it because it's still a guy in a hockey mask killing people, and that's basically the same thing. So I think that one's probably one of my favorites, honestly. Then, of course, moving along, we have Part 6, Jason Lives. You know, this is one I kind of go back and forth on. I think it's a pretty solid movie. It's the first of, like, the zombie Jason movies, and, you know, I think it's a very fun movie as well. You know, Jason looks good in it, and I like the Tommy Jarvis character in this one better than Part 5. It's kind of weird because in Part 5 and to 6, like, it's two different actors, obviously, but they're, like, almost two totally different characters as well, and it kind of throws you off. But, yeah, I like Part 6. Not one that I rewatch all the time, but it's still fun. Then we have Part 7, The New Blood. When I was younger, I used to watch this one a lot because it was on TV a lot when they would marathon these movies. This is one that they would always seem to play, and, you know, I really enjoyed it back then, but upon rewatches, I find that I like it less and less as time goes on, unfortunately. I don't know, I just don't really connect with the story that well. I think it's kind of lame, honestly, the girl with telekinetic powers and then like her mom and the therapist and all that. Like, it's just not my favorite. This is the one where Jason looks the best of, so I will give it that. But other than that, just not one that I go back to a whole lot now. And then we have Jason Takes Manhattan. This is also a lenticular cover. These covers are pretty cool. I like them. But anyway, this is another one that I would watch a lot growing up, and it was one of my favorites growing up, honestly. But upon rewatch, it is very, very cheesy, and I just don't enjoy it as much as I used to, sadly. But it's still one that I would rewatch. It's just, once again, not one that I would rewatch a whole lot. Like, the special makeup effects aren't that good. The acting's like okay, and I don't know, the story is just kind of dumb to me. After that, we have Jason Goes to Hell. I've only seen this movie once, and I gotta say it's not nearly as bad as some Friday the 13th fans say it is. It's not horrible. It obviously doesn't feel very much like a Friday the 13th movie, but it's still got like the soundtrack and things like that going for it. Probably not one that I would rewatch anytime soon unless I'm doing an actual Friday the 13th marathon. But other than that, not as bad as people say it is. Definitely not good, though. And then finally, for this part, guys, we have Friday the 13th, the remake from 2009. This covers Little Beat Up, actually. I didn't realize that. I've probably had this for a good while now, but, oh well. Yeah, Friday the 13th, the remake. This is one that when I first saw it, I saw this one in theaters. I remember I was only like 12, I think, at the time when this came out, 2009. And I remember like it was okay. I think I liked it better than like the Halloween remake back then at the time, but I didn't love it. And upon rewatch, it's one that has grown on me. Of course, the beginning scene is much better than like the rest of the movie, and you almost wish they would have focused on that a little bit more, but other than that, it's just another like Friday the 13th movie. I just don't think the characters are the greatest or most fun to follow around, because they're all kind of, they're like this rich cabin, and some of them are stuck up, and some, I don't know, it's just not the best, but at the same time, it's one that has grown on me over time, so I don't think it's awful. So, yep, that is it for this part, guys. Thank you once again for joining me, and I will see you in part number 4.